He walked into the hotel lobby. Ah, nothing felt special about that day. A sow. Sow. He held a small gift in his hand. It was her favorite necklace. In the store, Shemai Mai. He smiled, just thinking about her face. The elevator ride felt endless. I'm lost. Disheartened. He imagined her warm embrace, calling his name. D. The Hassan Forest. Frasik. The hallway was quiet and still. 105. The Hanan Sastre. Inside. Dinans and laugh. It was her laugh. That's is sad. A voice he knew very well. Rast house. He froze in place. Hundreds town and ad. South. All with his ear against the door. The muffled voices became clearer. Demand Triang and Wad. Their wedding. Ban and Morin Law. His hand began to tremble. Loss. Sasa thud. Coming toward the door. Sihast. He stepped back in pure panic, swung open wide. There stood his fiancée. Her eyes went wide with shock. Behind her stood his best friend, the man he trusted like a brother. Many times, held silence. Sybil, ice and Justin there. And lost. But he already knew the truth. He saw it written all over her face. There was no excuse in this world. I'm Tainats, Wana Naurno. I halted around and walked away, not because he was weak, but because his legs refused to carry him anymore. He stumbled into the elevator, his vision blurred from the tears. To show for it, he felt like the whole world was spinning, was caving in. The elevator doors closed. He slid down to the floor, high in loss. I left before, unless Tams thou taos, NLL. I lats a sanding saus, I slap. I had absolutely nothing left. Not a home, not a future, not even a reason to smile. In hen sass. It was from his fiancée, denied people her sales. Nian laughed out. A better laughed. A bitter laugh, and the Lahistich. Instantly, he deleted her number forever. He walked out of that hotel. The cold rain hit his face. I unmatched the cold feeling in his heart. He sat down on a bench. He looked up at the dark sky. Or Tennessee. Did some Sal. How did his life fall apart so fast? He had no family to run to, a close friends to rely on. Haas took that spot. His fiancée took the other one. Now both of them were gone. They were not just gone, a Sestrian. So, he remembered the day. He proposed. He remembered her happy tears, friend cheering loudly. They all looked so genuine, performist. So real, but it was all a perfect performance. Disor. So, he sat there soaked in the rain. Bin Saus. Again, a huge scene. But what was the point? They already chose each other. They already made their decision. Gahoust. Then the emptiness was turned into pain. He had no idea what to do next. He had no job to return to. And Endi Mestat, axe stick to keep going. Hast and let their wash him. Hess, and all his terselaction souse. He wished the world would swallow him whole, disappear everyone's memory. But fate had other plans for him. Someone was watching. Someone was observing his every move. A complete different destiny in mind. His phone buzzed again. A Dasa, Darren. This time, he ignored it at first, but the person kept calling. Finally, he answered with a heavy heart, through the speaker Tan. Sess, dis some souse. Incensed I Daniel. He said yes, with a confused tone, and sectional. Hal. She said she had been looking for him, proposition for him. He asked who she was. Her reply sent a chill down his spine. Pressins and souse. Show. Tannen story. She was completely different. Avier Land. Hey, a strange spark. Caution was cautious. And in caution, he agreed to meet her that night. Bond sells. Now, lass, promised him a new beginning, a revenge sweeter than honey. He hung up the phone. He looked at his reflection in a puddle. Bless. His face looked pale and broken, but his sustains held something new that was just ignited. He stood up from that bench. He wiped the rain from his face. Bass, the sick time. He took a deep breath. He did not know who this woman was. Disouch. He did not know what she wanted from him. Fuck. But I was officially over. So, from his ashes, ist a man that everyone would be afraid of, would regret betraying. A dress she sent him. Oh, of mystery, half alive, by Sast, done and sound lost. The Storn, Bisley, Frussen lies, on the Salast. Breathtaking, from in a dream. Sal, and emotionless. Now, just like the voice on the phone, Horan, Sal, Holly South, and Loss, stood before him, Prushleif. Dress, like a blade. Her presence demanded absolute respect. Daniel, Dan, Forpeth as Adrian's sister. Her name was Isabella, and knew say, I valuable. But, dies. Why she would help him. Town, she looked into his eyes with intensity. She saw something special in him. Something her brother always lacked. For sometimes, something that money could never buy. Flossed. Integrity. Being about a genuine soul. Nows. On people. Sales. She hated everything he stood for. But she never had the right weapon. Loss. She never had a soldier. She found that soldier in him. Boss and loss. And together they would bring destruction. Or every dark secret. The headed sin had. On a sheen for. Now then more lost. Eine hand. I ply Cincinnati for. And lot. But sitting in that dark mansion, he accepted with saying in light. Loss kiss. This was the start of a new legend. Revenge. Ass. Balls and sastrai. More. When Sieve N. Bissasem sen. Places. Because less, home had become your home. Their story was just beginning. Dan and Gad. Some Sal, the old Daniel died in that rainy hotel, mansion. Ness, by Taft breathing. I've lost, but his heart was burning. Down Isabella. In her massive study, Ines lost. Aftailing was Syme Salas. And I said, of expensive whiskey. I distan I. He took it with shaking hands. Ross. She studied his every movement. She analyzed his every expressions. He felt exposed under her gaze. She broke the silence. She told him her brother was never a good man. A dark history. Prussen the South. A massive empire. Lies and betrayal. Just Bomang. Ass. While working for it. So, laugh it. For every single thing. She clawed her way to the top. She built her own empire secretly, and saying she was richer than her brother. But revenge was never about the money. A manor sit down justice. For their father's victims, it was about pride and reputation. In Sadishan, a Norse style. Norslate. Pallier. He felt a strange connection to her. BT on the sounding town. Less. Dast. Of Adrian's cruelty. I had little to show for it, but now they would become his worst nightmare. A salad from her desk. She opened it and showed him photos. The Shas, Al, the Stradron at shady meetings. Offshore. They showed secret bank accounts offshore. Goss. They showed illegal deals with dangerous men. Daniel studied each photo carefully, bearing last. Isaratast, Bentley. He realized this was much bigger than romance. Its loss. An entire empire, step by step. An aspiration lost, and buys. Oust and had some time to prepare perfectly. Bat their slide, forced and lost. Someone they feared and shad. Someone him, someone they second. Someone they could not ignore. He asked her why she trusted him. She leaned closer, with a serious look, focused. Reformation is south. She said, people with nothing lose nothing. For Centhouse, it just came from sty. I dine. Absorbing her words. I bows. Everything she said. Hellstow. Loss and loss. So why not burn everything down? Boss. He told her he accepted her offer fully. Genuine loss. Some sal. Lost. An assigned assation. Inside. Forged in Nord. Cratch. Stronger than blood. I not the kime. Starts tomorrow. Less and dies. A servant. A guest room. The room was more luxurious than any home he knew. He lay down on the massive silk bed. Hours. With infinite scenarios. At the gala. Beg for mercy. Imagined. Thought. A successful man no one could break. Head some soused. And me sasses. When he woke up, sunlight filled the room. He felt different, somehow. He felt like a new person already. Dawes. He got up and looked in the mirror. Hi han now. Hasaus. Itamau. He walked downstairs to find breakfast waiting. My eyes. She looked elegant, as always. All with lit for him to sit down. She had already made arrangements. Dine and sast. No. I naring some sive. I did to sigh. And hounds from Ornit. A business mentor would visit in the evening. He would learn public speakings. Bosaz. And her Hasset. My Haller's second Y. He would become completely unrecognizable. Was absolute torture. The trainer pushed him to his limits every single day. What? Bend and a mentors. With business terms. Day and night. Cess. By like a sponge. He was determined to succeed. He was hungry for his revenge. Passed in a blur. Then he noticed something strange. Homing has. I has. For it. She would laugh at his small jokes. Botrations is Sam Pen and night. She showed him a softer side. The Ice Queen was slowly melting. I homeliness and nows. And neither of them acknowledged it. Too focused on their mission. Home and Hedenine Lod. Sen. By their hatred of the goal. So, Haas. Souse. Ally Glod. He could not let his emotions ruin this chance. Bat sat. Bat soused. Ender bat was soused. Shath. He could wear expensive suits effortlessly. Bun men can sound and lost. Scenarios. Pretended to be a difficult client. He handled every test perfectly. Helms and Liar. She said he was ready for phase 1. Round 10. Founds and Loth. And entering the Sade in the tout. I house him formis. House. And the Noid. South. From Sive. And I howen and staring. Need to become useful to their circle. He walked into that event alone. The room was packed with wealthy elites. Completely. Silently. So, he saw a golden opportunity. I lost. Haas. Was arguing Vester about a delay. Sassens. A calm smile. Sal. Bass at Sal's. The investor, I looked at him with surprise. David Lee. He won his Sather. His standing a dinatter. Fast. With confidence. David Lee became his first contact. Isabella. By his actions. Sal. I town Sal. The plan was working perfectly. Unpredictable and lost. Sat. Adrian was cruel and unpredictable. For Shader and Tashin. I last said, promised he would stay sharp. A sales in Maine and Norse. Weeks passed with more events. Daniel, his reputation, slowly, steadily. His clever mind, insistence. His sharp instincts, powerful aura. His soundstat brought him closer to his goal. Sal, I had him lost. Their feelings grew. I hinted Sabella would watch him from across rooms, and allowed. To say, thrust down at Daniel would catch her staring sometimes. His heart ceases, skip a beat involuntarily. He knew this was dangerous territory. Bruston Sanaim and Strand. See the connection. They both felt the unspoken tension, an honest question. She asked if he missed his old life, deeply about. He said he missed his peace of mind, but he never missed the fake in love. He told her his old life was an illusion, felt real and meaningful. So, eyes. A town in Sheen, she whispered, that she understood completely. For Sen a tender moment, to hold her. And a more kinchene. Stas sat. He was not ready to move on yet. One Sains in my, but Teeman Sal's. Hash. She knew his heart needed time. A hell she knew healing could not be rushed. From Sal's. On their mission. 3 weeks before the gala. Things changed. Ty. Adrian started asking questions about Daniel. He heard rumors about David Lee. He wanted to know who he was. As. This their most dangerous moment. On the sealant. S. Al. Investigate him. Fressa. False identities. Perfectly airtight. So, Adrian could not find anything suspicious. Or stale. From main soundofts. West, he scheduled a formal dinner meet. Lossest. Daniel would have to face his enemy soon. I know shouts. This dinner would be their first encounter. For a dangerous risk. Adrian sad, Daniel front of his mirror. Tie carefully. Set prowls. Betray a Mayal. Bah. In that Sal. But this time he had all the power. Hot. This time he had no fear in his eyes. Pressed. The limousine pulled up to a grand estate. A Sitter Pasic. The gates were just like the old mansion. Complete composure. He stepped out. His expensive shoes hit the marble floor. The butler led him into a grand hall of the table. Set. He looked older and more arrogant. Daniel's ex-fiancée. By lost. Some sim. Artrig Monor. His safshin, his transformation of absolutely complete. Blast. He walked forward with a confident smile toward his enemy. Now, I am David Lee, he said clearly. Frussum stoused. Adrian shook his hand with a suspicious look. From Mossad. I sound. And Dan and lost. Lost. He replied. The son and motioned for him to sit. Sasouse. The dinner table with delicacies. Had him soused. Home that tasted. Fiancée. Daniel and Sen Passon, staring at him. Strangely, a house to mount him. Bots. But she could not place the memory. He enjoyed watching her confusion. Honed town it. Every moment of this was pure satisfaction. Had been Nas. Adrian, asking him personal questions. Daniel answered every question flawlessly. From overseas. And he said he was looking for big investments. DeSauce, Adrian's interest in his money. A Nino or Kanjamal. In controlled every word he spoke, dropped her fork. Suddenly, as his hands, ends out. The table. Eyed on his finger. She recognized the small scar on his finger. That scar was from a kitchen accident years ago. From Sen. Herm signs. Is Fiancée. Raised tie glass. Is Semet. In earnest. By Tanley. Then back. What is wrong with you? He demanded. She could not form a single word clearly. A pants of the moment. Nat. Frasarelius. Des. Sashi. Boss. Sester was panicking. Is delling some sable. Come south in the shy. Plasts. But not even close to finished yet at all. Was finally out of the bag. The hunt is about to begin with fury. Prost. In Sien sound span. His eyes narrowing with suspicion. The silence at the sound sath. With every passing second, Desfiancée was visibly trembling in her seat. Fachest. Her hands shook as she reached for a glass of water. Hor et al. Ness. For Sestoret. Adrian slammed his hand down on the table with a loud bang. My marcation. But no words came out. Calm, amused smile. Sow. From some town. That's dazed of the pain they caused. And Adrian turned to Daniel with a harsh glare. Helm for it. He asked if they knew each other from before. Completely relaxed. Daniel, Hal sin nas, and Souse. He said the memories were not pleasant ones right now. Sit down his glass and looked directly at Adrian. Home score. He said his real name was Daniel Carter. Like a physical blow. Loss. Went pale with sudden realization. Amasanas. Like clatter. Beamed in an instant. Adrian stood up from his chair in Desafe. Accusingly. The Persfast. He demanded to know what he was doing there. A horsest one, seated. Daniel completely unfazed by the outburst. I hind taff. Hanstay, he said. He missed breaking bread with old friends. Adrian's anger grew with each word Daniel spoke. Welcome. In his home. Aikshe Nusine. In Taz. I hand Sansal. Daniel with deliberate slow movements. For siege and some south. Bineway. Her tenants and lied. Had hand assassin. Loss. Home souse. He stopped, and turned back around. With cold eyes. He said he hoped she enjoyed her new life. A firm enemy honor-nast. Harjit south. Lest. Galnaged voice. Inside. A hairy thing chan. I lest some chan. Cold manner. Hari was a meaningless word to him now. He said she had a chance to be honest before. To lie and destroy him lost. Instead, apologies. He said he was done accepting worthless apologies. Sand shirt. He walked out of the dining hall without looking back. Home to sales. The night air hit face like a refreshing wave. Houndization. Revenge was complete. And he got into his waiting car and near a fire and drove away. Continentrally. Was waiting for him at the mansion. Byantine, a Sal's. A said, and Sal's. For once. He said, it went even better than planned. And a sound lost. I myself had beginning. Fiancée. The next phase would be much more devastating. The following morning, Daniel received a phone call from Sarah. She was crying and begging to meet him alone, or information to share. I let Sal and Lot. He agreed to meet her at a quiet cafe for sounds and waited at a hidden table. Bishi on time in Sounda, Hun across, with shaking hands. Wasant and Hendren dangerouset. Pete det, Sal, on the Tarmy. With curiosity, why she would betray Adrian now. By lot. Sarah looked down at her hands in shame, being true colors. She said he treated her like a possession. He never loved her at all. Taos. By its. Daniel listened with a cold expression on his face. Homera for Sal. Sast. Matom Sim South. By life cost drive from 10 lie. Losh O for it. She said it contained Adrian's secret business files. Destroy him completely. Drive carefully in his hands. Much my head intrigue. That what she wanted. Say, pleading eyes. Hum and souse. And sass. Mine lost. Soused. Less wad. Less laughed. A cold and humorless laugh. Thous. Heidi said she broke his heart part beyond all repair. Pa spade. Her information, though, by Helen it Sams and its Dinick in its Sal, broke down loss. In the cafe booth, began seal and sound. So he told her she made her bed long ago. All he said, now she has to lie in it forever, leaving her completely devastated. But Sal, Isabella's office, and Dutch on his face. With a smirk on his face, I home San Tower from Sassel's, Bade, San and Lie, as she scrolled through the data. Has. She said this was more valuable than gold itself, a show for it. She said this would bring Adrian down completely. Panem Sal, past, and Nebel trusting of Sarah, carefully designed. Southam Sal's, on the Kernet, that they had to be cautious. They decided data, first thoroughly, by hone for analysis. The Safless, by Tenation. The Seft, the loss, as completely genuine and solid. The insome task and money laundering. And when sown, Gare and Samye. Tant, shall, I be Henensnown, hasn't. Shast, I sib some sail and Nashaltan on this souse. This information was absolutely devastating. Locked eyes with determination. Destination, they knew exactly how to use this ammunition. Process them do. At the Gouth. By. The event was only 2 weeks away now. Preparing, entering everything. Sa and Jessen, day. Firstine. In front of everyone. Himing out. From Mosh lost. The invitations were already sent out widely. I lied. This would be the night of ultimate justice. And now, by Sarah, kept calling Daniel constantly. Halas. Begging to see him. She said Adrian was becoming more violent. Dim and why. Or sass, Daniel ignored every message she sent him. Left for her at all. Lost. Completely. And the sign in Souths. Nakli Kinsound. Possen ein South. She said he was a loser who deserved misery. And lost. Those words echoed in his mind constantly. Frushrine, Tan and I. Every single day, what a loser could become. He would show the entire world his true power. Less in Sal's. Last, the venue was a grand ballroom downtown. The Selmistair, dressed in elegant attire. Crystal chandeliers hung from the high ceiling. Oth, engendering excitement. Prostane and sound Sal. Daniel a perfectly tailored black suit. Pause. In a stunning red dress by Enoch de Lost. They made all eyes turn toward them as they, and then ein whispers spread through the crowd instantly. A solitarius, ban lock, and like a ghost. Less, a Daniel approached Lost, the main stage with confidence, which from on Sal. Incest, fiat. The room gradually fell into complete silence. To look at him. I prepared speech. Daniel smiled. He said he had important things to share. Mine to light. He introduced himself as David Lee officially. Decide. Say, Carter. Daniel Carter, for sending Pam south. An interest. With urgency. I am lost. Security blocked him before he could get closer. Oft without any interruption. Hartatrinas. He told the story of his friendship with Adrian, about the deep betrayal he suffered, handless in Sattertown. Oth, finest soft. And it sounds seasons, Denini clearly. So, fraud. Hot trains, he said, a criminal hiding in plain sight, from Sound in. An accusation, Palmas actual Norhouse. So, be towny. and Miss Tanos. But Daniel projected the files onto the screen, display for all, and Howard in names. Nay, appeared clearly. I Evid and Tand, Evanas, could not be denied whatsoever. Darling Chown the Scrade. Several turned pale with shock. Preston face twisted into pure panic and fury. Ponabanger. He shouted for his guards to seize Daniel immediately. By securitize. His sent to south and town and by. Halt in that moment. Less, I sass, a tremational loss. Resentrum tenstrand, his criminal empire crumbled before his own eyes. A senate and losto disassociated themselves from him quickly, all about his crimes, and arrested him officially. So he was handcuffed and dragged out of the venue screaming with rage. Was in stunned. Silence. Lost. Sarah stood the entrance doorway, horror and fear. I'm the Narsh from the stream of south. She would face consequences too immediately, aspagant. My steady moss. Narsam the mad. Hotch Gran lost. What she deserved too. Nasunward Tamer. I nossed the police and approaching us south. At that very moment. Officers approached her also, on her trembling wrists. Hacked south. Station S, and one and last. So, for us. But Daniel simply turned his back on her forever. Hypolan deleted with a strong purpose. Astuzi lost. Sal, happened tonight. Triumph. The venue buzzed with whispers of his name. David Lee was not a real person after all. Fiancée. Daniel Carter was his name and now his legacy. All night. Head Sal. I seller. Isabella joined him off to the side quietly. Thrust of admiration. Washo. Imagines. Womprith and gratitude. I fice. He said he could never have done this alone. Estee said she was his guardian angel in disguise at the sparkling city. They stood together, and Sal's. The lights reflected in their determined eyes, and final justice. And found that, but their story was not over quite yet. On the loss. There were still feelings to explore and discover. Past. Who creates something new. In Lawside, Fwansum Sanner. Lost. Loss. Lying fast. His heart beating fast. Home tat ten and Sal. The bright lights of the city glowed around them. Hand from south. The sounds of the party faded into background noise, and Miss sought Nast. For a moment, only Hass, clear, in his sight, closer to her. Slowly, with curious eyes. What is it, Daniel? She asked gently, for speaking again. So, sassed. Again, for manners. Aye. But being with you's changed everything inside me. Possible. I say, lost forever. I see, quietly. Souse, midinously. West, but we must be careful. With our hearts. Dissound the shall. From the simals. Asta, I understand completely. He replied with warmth, ahead of us. Now, bossed. The night air felt crisp and refreshing around them, and home the Siams, and Hesti, and Loss, when I Norne. Silence, and attunements. Daniel's mind drifted to the coming days ahead. I wondered his new life would look like. It's, and a bright future now, in sales. Bick, Frass Sass. Frush was Sass South, hone into the sales. In Loss, and Hattons. He finally understood why everything had happened. The universe had a larger plan all along, a new clear dawn. The next Daniel woke up, feeling completely different inside. The sail lost. The heavy weight had finally been lifted away and lost. He no longer carried the burden of revenge. He was free to build a brand new life. He looked at his phone and saw messages, post-tacit during the night. Sarah, what she was calling him. She repeatedly from an unknown number. Mersaniad, she made, and Mersaud. paused. Poison his new life. A far too much power. Belai. And Daniel started planning for his future career, partners, mind. Insane, all with for Sahnatat in top companies. In Tap Sahnas, blindly. Anayo. He felt like he could achieve anything now. Less. He wondered where Sarah was staying these days. Benlar. If truly suffering, he decided not to care about her anymore. On the nodder. Sandstith, an unexpected souse. Then, heaven and lions. Bahan, he answered it, out of simple curiosity. For Soust. It was Sarah's mother crying desperately. For Sensoust. She begged him to drop the charges against Sarah, and to seize, and Hornisan and South. Sal, Alice Sive. Han, I let a scene in the side, his silence. Even harder, and unmoved completely. His souse, Phi. So, he said in losses. Honestly, but your daughter made her own choices. Alone now, father, and sin in the living room later. She asked him who had called his phone. A now lying. Add in the souse, Belhand, on his shoulder gently. She told him he made the right decision. Protecting his peace was essential. Those people anymore. She said, now, for says. Daniel, he was so grateful to have her support. Ty. Haps says, and a week later, the trial officially began. A centuret. The media covered every detail extensively. The buyings. Daniel was as the main witness. For Sentient's Loth, Sal. Darted. He told the court about the fraud schemes. By the summer house. Sal. The jury listened. With rapt attention daily. In weak ways. Wah. For down nats. But every argument under the evidence. For serious say, charged. Say. Assast. And Haunis out in T5 years. The judge's crimes absolutely reprehensible. Set for sound sathas. The courtroom erupted in gasps everywhere. Happened days after that. Haranitsa souse. Of fraud accessories. Gress of 5 years. I hen south. Prison bars. On town essays. While she was out on bail, she sent Daniel countless desperate letters. Frustmate I sorrowful than the last. I susmet. She spoke of her regret and her pain. I dissout. Ow. Frustration. She said being with taught her a lesson. Daniel read in breach letter and then destroyed them. To her. Now. Law for final. A 6. Daniel went to the cemetery and lost in laws. War. Call in marble stones. Balas. High. I rose from the deepest pit of despair. A new purpose and a new love. I hope you are proud of who I became. Wash over him. And Saus, whoring here, held high. How? Months passed. Like the river flows smoothly, thine sast. Daniel established a successful investment company, Poseidon. He partnered with Isabella's family business closely, and stand on their Saus. In finance, Han and Sound and Lost. Their names in business magazines, partnership. Greatly, this settled to show for it. But few knew the personal connection growing deeper. Daniel started taking Isabella on quiet dates, Ban and South, Prost. The serene riverside paths, from tall, ist rooftops. Lost. White towel. There was no drama and no anxiety involved. For Sensley. A. What real love meant. All Daniel decided. To ask her something important. Holnemans more and hay. They were sitting on his apartment balcony together. To set. Heimer Sal. Insists. Isabella. I have a question for you. Smile. I am listening, she replied tenderly. all his courage fully. Flossed. I want to build a family with you someday. Fine now. I want to share the rest of my life with you. For Sanjin. Do you see shelf in that future with me? Hone lithe. Isabel eyes with emotional happy tears. At first. Loss. For some lost. She squeezed his hand tightly in her own hand. And sent in Sanao. Outline the Sanaus. Ply sem skits. Loss. And lost. Home and distal. Intensitas. With endless hope. Bon and lot. Daniel received at the office. Ban. Nas. That all. Bearney growing. From Sarah's. From Sarah. It was dated a week before she went to jail. He read it slowly and patiently. Him in total regret. Loss. Russin saying. I begged him to forgive her in this letter. And lots of being Millie and the Norse Day. She said, Nasep fly. Drawer safely. Hass. He did not feel anger or pity then. Bust of neutrality. He's, I home team Sal. Her shadows no longer trendalizna. Closed the drawer and moved on with his work. Quiet mood. Dials. From Sarah. From Sarah. Hast. Isabella listened without any jealousy or upset. Burr sounded. Less. Mafiel. Cos wit words. For sound simulation. Perhaps he could forgive someday further down the road. For Sanley. But he would not forget the lessons learned completely. A week later, a huge gala was held. Dan somehow it. It was to honor the top entrepreneurs worldwide. Brian Sation has. And Dan light. No. It was hosted in the luxurious Ritz Tower. Pasta Patnets. The world's most successful people gathered together. By Cito. Daniel walked in wearing a sharp, elegant tuxedo. Val and Hay stunning s. By Hor the glamorous together. Gracefully. Factical nation. Many came up to congratulate Daniel warmly. The show for it. Has grown in amazing ways indeed. A fought back. And hundred from nowhere. So, by dis sound Norius. Das, the sounds from his past. Sessas, bang one. Across the ballroom, tall Nevere. And a distinguished look, Thatchelnut. Daniel as recognition hit him, from his old company. As, the single warning. Without a single warning, all in Mesite Fies. At Aver, Agile Frat, Abelethan Foreign, and Sanlar, after Neverall gave Daniel a chance to explain anything. Bressist. Daniel clenched his jaw as the memories came back to him, in his posture. Hundress, she inquired. Unform were Senared. Sal, a hair terrace, my old, to company's CEO, Grius, in Soust. Halatanimus. Hass, Heiskala confront him together. Induration Ortan, eyed taunted. At the thought of facing that man, to show for it, he was not the same broken employee anymore. He squared his shoulders and started walking forward, Hesnatownins and Siles. Talking to some business executives. In line Sass. He looked up as Daniel and Isabella approached. Holder and Sal. Then eyes. Smile. Frustierson me. Henderson. At first. Russell agent. His eyes studied him carefully with new curiosity. I must admit. I was shocked to see your name everywhere. All were thought and imagined. You would become so successful. And Lon Host smiled with a slight hint of polite indifference. I lost. People often fail to understand. Phrase flushed. Slightly, with uncomfortable guilt, Hamid in his throat. Before speaking again, or what happened Pan. Haas, hounds, and Shishan investigated the situation more thoroughly. Rian lied to me and deceived me entirely. He claimed you were stealing from the company. In half, evidence. I lost actual evidence. His expression stayed guarded. The sound is about trusting the wrong people. Beseits im selbst. Now, and abandons genuine shame. Schau Tan's apology for Mao cannot make things right. My loss ostraunced. So, in the Tyne Tower, for a long quiet moment, I had Mark anymore. Land. Boss. He fact, a strange sense of gratitude had been the catalyst for his transformation. Boss new life. Once, re-happened. For a divine reason. I accept your apology, mister, finally said. I have moved on from the past completely. Nowadays, with clearly visible, Wesleyan patient laud. Sell, for souse. Daniel walked back toward Isabella, a proud smile on her face. A sass. She said softly to him, so, Haas and Siri. After Shern lost, finishes the journey completely. I lost. Ow. So, he had ever in Hone Loth. Loth, being a sound. Near the front, for it. The gala continued with speeches and various presentations, down in mass. Host took the stage at midnight, the meshal announcement. In mine, Duon lost. Grew silent in eager anticipation, was saying tearing my. The host revealed for breakthrough an entrepreneur, from Monzi Moan for lost. Anzi Jew was announced, per sound. Daniel, and completely speechless for a moment, for sound. Isabella nudged him with a huge smile on her face. Dine Ward. She whispered encouragingly to him, walked to the stage in a complete daze. Sal. He felt like he was dreaming, an impossible fantasy. The host hands. Sound in sta. From the side. The Sal. Congratulation. Clapping in the back happily. I left with gratitude. For her presence. Frasausen Locken Sast. It's Frasum Sayan Loss. I want to thank everyone this station. One very special. Enad's Seshal. Won the journey. And lifted me upward high. A sounds Mao. Sows. Taos. Lost. From most spes. In her eyes. To show for it. Daniel continued speaking with a powerful, steady voice. I also want to thank my old failures. And sorrows. Hat and nod. They taught me resilience, strength, and true compassion. The devastating betrayal. I would not be here. I would in hats have found my purpose, or my love. My hen assistance path. Applause. And once again enthusiastically, feeling victorious. Why? Sal, against his beating chest test. Cest, to show for it. The night was one of the greatest of his life. For do Sal, wis and non. By ended. They drove home, by their car windows. Slowly, golden trophy, the tone of the car. Bell, and San Mornis. He looked over who was driving quietly. I wonder where Sarah and Adrian are tonight, he said. I'm a loss. She asked, complete certainty. I truly feel nothing connecting us anymore. Bersinsmast. And squeezed his hand tightly. Sal versast. I am so proud of the man you have become tonight. Daniel smiled and looked deeply into her eyes. Homeless and doubt you. Cecily, 1 month later, they had a quiet ceremony at sunset, Frustane on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. Attended the date. Ald and London the sky. Orange, pink, and gold perfectly. Alan elegantly. For fish in the my. Lest were celso, susto, frusan love and respect. Words that bound them together. The completely them. No betrayal anywhere. I. And the cast. In Joe, leader. Don and toward in the north. Sal, Frasaf, radiant eyes. Sal, truly mattered all along. Rust, Simtai. In Hamsale, Itan and lost, and Sainvance the claws. And last, Daniel's company flourished into a global empire. Frustrie's CEO of her family's main business, Hyundai, powered couple in the headlines, innocent and grounded, and deeply humble by scent and worth the community. Des, worth it came from honestly. Moments. Shout, Boston, ocean, cooking rainy Sunday evenings. Conthouse and rainy Sundays, dancing in the living room, to soft old songs. With shout, they cherished every single day they had together, amazing and lost. Years later, Daniel received a letter from the prison to show for it. It contained a single photograph of a young girl, Osh Meyer, and Daniel's bright eyes, in a south another. Nen south, honestly, proudly. Snas. He looked at it every morning before meetings began, to his growing family. I dat tan, then onward. Home and Syeth. I soused tatsas. I lest his journey forwards, and no was started in the south, fully. This horde season. At last, a Vermsleifenad. Gained the entire world, all that mattered most. Deigned her and lost her. After Daniel's mother, and welcomed the future. In Sal, the nursery, a soft, warm shade of cream, a head in the corner of the room. My trust in Sal. Isabella spent hours decorating every tiny detail carefully, all in standor in the tad doorway and watch her work. How Mike to his heart he never knew existed, and her mother's smile. A Harristad, lost, after Stein, he cried. He cried, ban everything. Shpor can never heal, contain. From loss. Streamed down his face, did it some sales. She whispered that everything led to this moment. Every heartbreak was a stepping stone to this family. Wotton nied. Daniel look made a silent promise. From all the pain he endured. Sal, as a snails, lost. He would raise her, to know her worth and value. Hein law. The days turned to weeks and months of pure joy. Emma grew quickly, becoming more curious every day. She would crawl around the house exploring every corner, pounding lawsome Sal's. Daniel would make her laugh endlessly, a soundest dance. Isabella would capture every moment with her camera. Fawns constantly. Constance, opposition to the cold emptiness he felt years ago in his home office. I sounded half. I hold the fast. Hey, Segre, Rashen Tondis in Merlasathide. Application he filled out long ago. For me $3. He remembered weighed on his shoulders. Stouth a south, Bahone softly, and placed the paper carefully in a drawer, his bank account. Completely, in RC Cats. He had more money would ever see in prison, what mattered most to him. Nas, now, what mattered was the peace he felt in his heart each day. Thrust himself carrying Bailey. Baby Emma. Hoff placed Emma's in his arms. Hobble Pete Bay Clyder. Rosat. Completeness wash over him. Yes. Damned sessions for Burr. Brosk, his loves. And his purpose, by Cyrus Internats. And alive, a Sam sound and lost. He no longer from anyone else around him, was simply happy with his blessings. The following spring, Daniel decided to host a charity event. He wanted to give back to the community meaningfully. Fundraising gala for orphaned children. The venue was a massive hotel in the city center, the Saskatchewan. Attended the special occasion, Lie, for children's education programs, town show for it. Daniel about his own humble beginnings, about being homeless, and having nothing at all, Proston tried. He spoke about the kindness of strangers that changed him, urged everyone to be that kindness to someone else. The audience was moved. and many had tears in their eyes. I happened to me nation. Isabella watched from the front row with Emma on her lap. She was bursting with pride for her husband's generosity. Posturing. After the speech, a young reporter approached Daniel. Has, once she are south, motivation was in life. Vast. Any hesitation. Emma. She represents the future I choose to build forward. Across all the major news networks. Why? All Evans Sadgering was Stanger. People were his depth and genuine character, from a broken victim into a true leader. And then a trat on the Wonden home and Loth. Das had one more chapter to be revealed. Emid Sound and Lystem Lie. One evening, Sherwin's call from overseas. I has some slough, in essence Sal. Hasn't Sal, in Hounersact. The investigate about an unexpected discovery. We're summoned for it. Adrian's mother had passed away suddenly a few weeks ago. Nobody claimed. Yet, an assistance. Those assets at a property and several bank accounts. On the Sanin might inherit everything eventually. That, Enintai, without showing any emotion. Bass, and hung up the phone. Next say, a south. He walked to the kitchen, where Isabella was making dinner. Russum turned and lost. Noticed his quiet pensiveness immediately. Is everything okay? Dissumpti asked, gently reaching for him. A has and then tasked. With a contemplative look, Fruffer and Samily. He told her about the news regarding his family. Greed and Estace, Herr Sal. What in how now? She asked him softly. Sal, for a long moment before answering her. In Spanlai, rusted tilly means. Shh, don't lost. He rose from the table and walked toward the window. He stared out at the ocean in the fading sunlight and sets to chase the inheritance. In south, and no desires to destroy Adrian any further, upon himself. In prison, about slowly. How's? Daniel had won the battle. Without lifting a single finger further, with a peaceful smile. Let the past. Effer, he said calmly. I have everything I could ever need right here. Her arms around him. Eileen assessed, Frusmus, that she loved him. They stood together, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Processed. I and Eve in South to hold. But, Pawsiders, came in an unexpected way, a commencement, speech, and the university. Was his alma mater from years ago, proceeded finance diligently. Honor and gratitude. Cell. Dassen ceremony was bright and clear. Auditorium seats. Filled the massive auditorium seats, come proudly. Their families in the upper balcony sections, Russ and Nornis. Daniel and felt a wave of nerves. Rustan accepted. Cheering him on excitedly. Prasti. She whispered to him softly. Raihat. And Sal. The dean introduced him, entreated him with a glowing, elaborate speech. Pristine faces. Daniel looked at the young faces, and Miss Serenitu. Hope and uncertainty mixed together, farshamed for it. He remembered sitting exactly where they sat long ago, in Saint-Tietz, about what life had planned, the microphone, and began speaking slowly, a lad. Sast, Armin Hayes. So, this sounded sass. Emma was adjusting to her new school and making friends, on loss. Siba, in her entire class, my Talon Bass. She had Isabella's social grace, of their beautiful universe indeed. South. Daniel's company continued to grow beyond all expectations. Bay 9. He was now considered one of the most influential people, after Lyndon Taos, but he never let power change his character at all. Bass, in and Sal. He would take Isabella back to that restaurant, by the Indo quietly. And headed south. They would toast to the night that changed everything forever. The night Syke suggested fake engagement over cold pasta. The memory always made them laugh, with genuine amusement. They were so foolish, and yet so incredibly brave, on a foundation of mutual trust. While this grew far deeper than they ever imagined, hauled a sound heritage. Daniel was working in his study, for Samuel Trest, in her little hands, of Quallen lost. It was a picture of their together under a rainbow. Vows. She had written, in colorful crayon letters, Bass. Daniel picked her up and hugged her tightly with joy. Bess in the town, yes. She giggled and pointed at the stick figures drawn carefully. To straight it. That is you and Mommy holding hands, she explained. Princess. He asked her. Because rainy days make pretty rainbows, she said wisely. Daniel Sal's wisdom, a hub and loss. His storm had produced the most beautiful rainbow possible. That rainbow was the life he built with Isabella today. Happiness. A life filled in love and pure happiness for Sanhouse. A life the past could no longer hurt him. The gently find her mother in the kitchen. So, at the clearing sky outside. Well, lusts, I half and hast. The sun was breaking through the remnants of rain clouds. Finally, warfare. Or to regret, perfect final chapter. His son, a feasting to snowats. Frost, isnas, cozy cabin. Near a crystal clear lake. Frashing mornet. Emma spent her days chasing flies and frogs happily. On cared. Daniel sat on the porch holding hands. Wasade and souse. Without a care in the world, Daniel about secretly. Boss. And uninterrupted. Contentment. Sal. Sail estem sals. No more fighting against impossible odds. Wall the next day. Sal. I'd silling if for the hast. Smiling eye. What are you thinking about? Len is softly. He shrugged and smiled back at her warmly. Exactly as it should. Beceive undesane from lie. Besay, my loves. My love, she whispered. Watched the sun set. Behind the towering pine trees, I joined them proudly. I bluff and selde. And snuggled close comfortably, veneer a shiat. Harmony, bound lost. The evening quiet wrapped around them like a warm blanket. About anything upcoming. Das, s, dows, Davernamore. So, crust and lost her. And let out a grateful sigh. World. Was, baldangs, fi home floth. He was the man who gained everything that mattered. Was. Beyond measure. Pras passed. And Emma grew into a remarkable young woman. Maul father's determination. And her mother's wisdom. Talentas with high honors. The saming of Tamia. Attended the same university where her father once spoke proudly. Russum Tarmus town lass. Daniel is some tas. In the entire auditorium, has and tintras. Sal. All resilience and determination. Determination. Cracks. Taught her to never give up. Perception, knowing journey. As her greatest motivation, as he listened to her words. Stas, or show for it. He could not believe how far they had all come together. The ceremony lost. Emma hugged them both tightly. Thank you for always believing in me, she said emotionally. Believe in you. Isabella replied proudly. I'm the Sal. Daniel ruffled her hair as he had done when she was young, and losting the Sal's. He said with wonder, like only yesterday, she was drawing rainbows for him. Bazari. But it moved beautifully indeed. They celebrated that night. At their favorite restaurant again, Frustum Lot. The same table by the window had been reserved, Frustum Sal's. With warm congratulations. Under the table, comfortably. By them stories about her college adventures. Joyfully, distrusting F laws. But my hoss, with deep contentment, I remembered. He walked in with Isabella, a cold, dark street that night, and sassed, thrust himself harmlessly. An ally in town and owls. He silenced its mysterious ways, and he thanked Isabella for believing in the broken man, Hannon's and Miss Sal's. He squeezed her hand, caught her eye tenderly. He whispered, "He," she smiled, and squeezed his hand right back gently. "Always and forever," she replied. "Fiancée, I'd pace me nigh." In the most perfect way, to healing, to a love that endured all. Russ's story he ever could have written. Horse in the Lost. Now, toner of them by